OJAYA, the martial art of deep meditation.
I'm so excited today to introduce to you a new speaker, Sukaishi David. Beginning at the age of 17, Sukaishi David has a history of practicing and teaching deep meditation, organic diet, and holistic health lifestyle. He studied with Sri Ravi Shankar and became president of Art of Living USA, part of the Art of Living Foundation, an international organization with millions of followers. Sukaishi's mission is to spread the rare, adept secrets of deep meditation of OJAYA. Welcome, Sukaishi David.
Namaste, Suara.
Beautiful. First off, I have to ask about this environment that you are in. It is so beautiful.
This is the earthborn rainforest. And yes, there are mango trees. And we have lychee trees. We have bananas growing here, macadamia nuts, and tropical birds flying around.
It is so beautiful there. I hear birds in the background. I hear waterfalls. It's really quite amazing that our audience gets to share in that environment.
Well, you know, this OJAYA deep meditation knowledge is so ancient and is so natural. This meditation was cognized in the deep forests by the meditation masters. So we thought we'll teach it in the forests as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. So your life's work is in meditation, and this passion has taken you all over the world. So as someone is beginning practice, what do you think are some things, important things for someone to do?
Meditation, true meditation, is absolutely easy. If it's not easy, it's not meditation. Because why? Because meditation is a deep relaxation. It's a surrender. It's not an effort to try to do something. As a matter of fact, when the ancient meditation masters were sitting in a beautiful forest, much deeper forest than here, and what they would do is they simply were in a very pure state of consciousness, and they would go very deep, and they would observe the mind. They did not invent the techniques of meditation. All they did is they observed the mind, how it works. And then they understood meditation, because meditation is just how the mind rests deeply. It's just a very natural process. They also cognized something else very beautiful. They cognized mantras. Have you heard of mantras? Like Om, all these different kinds of mantras. They did not compose these mantras. They heard these mantras in this very deep state of cognition. And they understood that this mantra will have this effect on the person. This will give them heart opening. This will give them success in their business. This will give them inner awakening. This will cure anxiety. They could tell all the different mantras and what they will do. So, the number one most powerful meditation, see, there's thousands of meditations you can do, but the number one classic, most powerful meditation is mantra meditation. Because the mantras resonate in the consciousness in a musical way. Okay, you like music, right, Suara?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you feel something when you hear music?
Yes. An emotion is associated with it. Yes.
An emotion. Now, has music ever made you cry?
Yes, it has. If I'm in a particular mood and I hear that song, that's right there with me. Sometimes I will sing it in my car, and tears have come.
But then other music can make you laugh and just feel like partying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, see, the thing is, music has a very deep effect on the consciousness. And mantras are a little capsule of music. They're very, very powerful capsules of music. It's like if you have an herbal capsule, inside that herbal capsule is a very powerful remedy from nature. It's like concentrated nature in that herbal capsule. That's what a mantra is. A mantra is a series of sounds which affects the chakras in certain ways to wake them up and align them and tune them up. That's why the number one meditation of the ages is mantra meditation. Now, most people these days are doing breath meditation. Nothing wrong with that, but the thing is, the breath is not a technology. In other words, you're always breathing anyway. So when you're putting your attention on the breath, nothing new is getting added to the consciousness. But if you take a mantra, that mantra has a technology in it. And the mantra is a sound from nature. So when you have that mantra in the consciousness and the consciousness vibrates in that pattern, it changes everything gradually as you meditate. Now, the highest mantras are the armor mantras, and that's what we use in OJAYA, because there's three things that the armor mantras do. The armor mantra, first of all, it creates an armor of serenity around you so that when you go about your day-to-day life, you carry this serenity so you do not absorb the stress. The stress doesn't get through. The other thing is, an armor mantra pulls the awareness inward naturally. You do not have to try to relax. You do not have to try to go deep. The mantra does that work for you. It grabs your attention because it's so soothing and it's so delightful, that sound, and it pulls the awareness inward. And by pulling inward, it attacks stress. It attacks anxiety. It attacks depression. It attacks lethargy and brain fog. The masters would say that an armor mantra, the one we use in OJAYA, is like a mother lioness. And this mother lioness will attack anything that is going to hurt her cub. And you're the cub that she's protecting. So if there's anxiety in there, this mantra will resonate with that and shake it up and dissolves that stress. It dissolves that anxiety, that depression. So that's the advantage of an armor mantra. And the third thing that an armor mantra does is it has a unique way of playing the chakras like a musical instrument so that they all become attuned and realigned with nature. And what happens is when you go very deep with this armor mantra, it gradually wakes up these very deep levels of consciousness within you that were sleeping. See, inside of us, there's a lot of layers that are sleeping, and this armor mantra goes right in, and that vibration shakes those levels and gradually wakes them up. That's called inner awakening.
Beautiful. I love that. And I love your analogy to the singing and the song. That vibration resonates through my whole body because I'm participating in it. And I could feel it not only here in my throat, but all the way down. It goes all the way down my body. And so as you're describing it, I'm almost viscerally like experiencing that even right now. This idea that this tone, this vibration could go through my body and things that are not in alignment with that just falling away.
Exactly, Suara. You're right. Because, see, the mantra vibrates in the physical body, but it also vibrates in the subtle body. Okay? So it vibrates very, very deep inside, deep in the consciousness, and that's how come it can wake up those levels that are just sleeping. They want to wake up, but they need a little alarm clock.
Beautiful. Thank you. So what do you think are some common pitfalls that you see happening with people? What are things to avoid as someone begins the meditation practice? Okay.
Any newbie can learn the armor mantra because it's so simple. We have people in their 90s doing this. There's nothing difficult about it. And this is called OJAYA, the martial art of deep meditation. This is a martial arts meditation. And we actually give you a degree when you finish it. It's a martial arts degree, but you don't have to kick, you don't have to punch. These 90-year-olds are not doing that, I can assure you. It's very, very simple, so the beginners can do it. The beginning mistake that people make when they meditate is you just learn a mantra and you go in the corner and just keep repeating it. Mantra, 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 mantra. That's not it. People all the time say, just teach me the mantra and then just let me do it. I don't want to go through this preliminary lessons. I had this one guy, and he just wasn't going to take the course. I'm not going to do this, I'm too busy. I said, Ron, just try it out. So he reluctantly did the whole course. And at the end, I said to him, now, Ron, you almost didn't do this course. If I had just shown you the mantra and just sent you in the corner to repeat it and meditate, would you have known how to meditate? And he said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because there's many what we call katas. These are the rules of how to meditate deeply. This is not a matter of one school versus another school, or one philosophy or another person's opinion. Meditation doesn't go on opinions. It doesn't go on philosophies. There's certain universal knowledge that one has to understand in order to go very deep in their meditation. So if people don't understand those points, they begin to control the meditation. They begin to concentrate. Any concentration in the meditation pulls you up to the surface. That becomes a kind of mindfulness. It's like if you tread water, the more you move, you stay on the surface. If you want to dive, you got to take a correct angle and don't move, but just go deep. Many times people that have been meditating for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they're so used to struggling in their meditation, then we have to take a little extra time to get them to break those habits and just relax and let the meditation run without your intervention. It's absolutely effortless. If you don't know the katas, these rules of how to meditate, then the meditation becomes a strain. And then we have to look into that, because that means somebody is trying to use ego, effort, control, and meditation is a natural process. You have to surrender it to nature.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. That's incredibly insightful. I love that. So as someone is on their journey of meditation and they have this practice and they're deepening and learning how to go deeper and deeper, what do you think someone would experience over time having a meditation practice?
They're going to first experience in their meditation relaxation. Then that gradually increases to very deep peace. And then that gradually increases to bliss and ecstasy. And we say, anybody that does OJAYA, sooner or later, you will cry. You will cry because the ecstasy is so much. That's one reason for crying. Another reason is because when you come out of that meditation and you feel so serene, and then you go around your friends and they're all like cranky and stressed, and your heart just opens to these people because you can see very clearly, your mind is so clear, and you can see they're trapped in this prison of stress and they don't see how to get out of it. And this is the gift of the masters. This is why there is meditation. Why did Buddha spend his career teaching meditation? It's to get people out of that prison. Why did the yogis teach meditation? They want to get people out of that prison of the mind, which the only prison bars are stress. If we can just get rid of that stress, then you're free. You see? So that's what meditation does. And it gives inner awakening. Now, what is inner awakening? This is something that is really not well understood. People talk about enlightenment. They talk about self-realization. This is not well understood because people start to fantasize what that means. But it's really very, very simple. Take the example of a mother and a 3-year-old child. The 3-year-old child has a toy and it broke. So that 3-year-old, her whole world was that toy. And she's devastated. Now she's in the present moment with that toy and she's devastated. See, the present moment doesn't necessarily give bliss. She is in the present moment. Kids are in the present moment, but she's devastated. So that shows a small, immature consciousness. But now the mother, in comparison, is enlightened. She's awakened. Because awakening means seeing beyond the present moment. This is what we teach in OJAYA. People always say that awakening is when you're in the present moment. We say no. Awakening is when you see beyond the present moment. In other words, the mother can look at that child and see beyond the child. She understands what the child's consciousness is. Now the child cannot understand the mother's consciousness. So that's really what inner awakening is all about. It's a maturity of consciousness that gradually develops as these inner layers of consciousness become awakened.
Beautiful. I love that. It's almost as if we are able to access into something that's deeper, that is transcendent in the way that it transcends even just this moment. Maybe it's like a wider view of things, and that in that quietness, in the space that we're creating, it sounds like in the deep meditation, in that place we can have access to a deeper truth within ourselves that isn't just the ego coming at us, telling us stories of need or lack or desire, but underneath that there's a deeper truth, and that we're creating space for that within the deep meditation to bubble up.
Because that level sees the real truth, and that level is beyond ego. You have to go beyond the ego to see that truth.
Right, and that's what I'm hearing from you, that we're accessing. We're accessing something that goes beyond that ego, beyond those layers of the stress, to what is deeper, what is underneath. And so that's beautiful. I think that's an amazing state to be in. That's where we're all heading to, hopefully. And that what makes OJAYA different than other meditation techniques?
I'm very surprised what is being taught in the spiritual marketplace as meditation. I keep running into people over the decades that constantly say, I tried meditation, I had too many thoughts, I couldn't meditate, my mind would not settle down, it didn't work for me. So the reason that it's not working for them, there's a great misunderstanding about what meditation is. And let me explain that. Today, mindfulness. This is the big thing. This was not the case when I started meditation. I never heard of mindfulness when I started meditation. So this has become in vogue, and they're calling it mindful meditation. Actually, that's an oxymoron. There's no such thing as mindful meditation. Mindfulness is one thing, meditation is another. Buddha, when he taught, he had his 8-fold noble path. And number 7 on that path was sati, mindfulness. Number 8 is samadhi. Samadhi is deep meditation. So right there we can see there's a difference between mindfulness and meditation. And in the same way, Patanjali, he's the one that formulated yoga. And he also had an 8-fold path similar to Buddha. And number 6 in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras is dharana, which is mindfulness. Number 7 is dhyana, meditation, which is the flow of the mind inward. And number 8 agrees with Buddha, samadhi. Samadhi is deep meditation. Samadhi is the key to inner awakening. Samadhi is the crest jewel of Buddha's teaching, and it's the crest jewel of yoga. Now, what is samadhi? Samadhi is yoga. Samadhi is awakening. If you go into the Yoga Sutras, the very first sutra says, what is yoga? Yoga is cessation of thought. Cessation of thought. Why cessation of thought? It's very different than mindfulness. See, mindfulness is when the mind is full of thoughts. Yoga, samadhi, is when all those thoughts gradually settle down, gradually, to a complete state of restfulness. No thought at all in the mind. This is samadhi. It's kind of like when the ocean is very rough. That's a lot of thoughts. That's frenzy in the mind. But when that all settles down to just sheer glass, that glassiness is samadhi. So the problem today is that people have confused mindfulness for meditation. Now, mindfulness has its value. That's why it's number 7 in Buddhism. That's why it's number 6 in yoga. But mindfulness will not lead to inner awakening because the awareness is going outward. Mindfulness is when you're aware of the breath, for example, or you're visualizing something in the mind, or you're aware of the body, or they say, imagine yourself in a beautiful forest and feel this kind of visualization thing. This is all mindfulness. But that's very different than meditation, because meditation is when you leave all that behind and the mind settles down to just rest. And that inward direction leads to inner awakening. So this is what we want to explain. We are a not-for-profit school. We're volunteers here, and we're trying to educate the public on what true deep meditation is, and trying to explain the difference that not all meditations lead to the same spot. If you want the fruit of meditation, for example, inner awakening, peace of mind, if you want inner peace, you have to go in. You have to go in. You can become relaxed by taking a walk in the forest. You can become relaxed by having a cup of tea and just taking a break. But that's very different from going deep into samadhi. Because when you go deep into samadhi, it releases the stresses that are blocking the channels in the chakras. And this creates awakening of the chakras and awakening of the consciousness.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that explanation. Yes, I have heard of mindfulness as a technique. And it's funny because I can see even the word mindfulness, like your mind is full of this present moment. But what you're expressing is really quite the opposite of that. It's almost just empty of everything. And there's an incredible stillness that comes with that. So that's just beautiful. I love that explanation.
What most schools are teaching and how we teach it very, very differently, okay? Now let's just say that we're walking along the beach and the mind is worried about the future and obsessed about the past. And so we can't even enjoy the blue of the ocean, the warmth of the sand. We don't feel the cool breeze because the mind is not present to what is in front of us. The mind is not present to the beach. It's worrying. It's in the mind, okay? Now, what these schools are saying is, the solution to that is, okay, you're not in the present moment. So you've got to bring your awareness to the present. You've got to bring your awareness to the blue of the ocean. You've got to bring your awareness to the warmth of the sand. This is actually what we call specious reasoning. Specious means that it sounds correct, but it's incorrect. For two reasons. The first reason is that you are not out of the present moment. You are always in the present moment. In other words, if you're walking along the beach, it is true that you're not present to the beach, but you are present to the worry and everything in your mind, and that's also the present moment. Even if you're worried about the future, that is the present moment. In the present moment, I'm worried about the future. So that's the first issue. You're always in the present moment. So the second issue is that if you take your mind from this turmoil and be present to the blue of the ocean, what you've done is you've distracted yourself from this turmoil. You've merely distracted yourself, but it hasn't gotten rid of the turmoil. So what's going to happen is later, that turmoil is going to come up again. So just by removing yourself from the turmoil and being present to the sand and the beach, that does nothing to get rid of the stresses. Now what meditation does is it draws the awareness deep within and it attacks these stresses and dissolves them and washes them away. Now, when you've practiced real deep meditation for a number of days, weeks, now you're walking along the beach. You're naturally present. You do not have to try to be mindful of the ocean. Whatever you put your attention on, it rests there. Because the static is not there any longer. See?
That is beautiful. So what do you think is going on when you go into that deep meditation and that turmoil, that stress, it diffuses, it, sort of dissipates and loses energy? What is causing that to happen?
I love how you said it loses energy. You're so right. Because see, what the yogis, the meditation masters, would call these stresses, they call them sanskaras. You may have seen it written samskaras with an M, but that M is really pronounced like an N, sanskara. And we call them scars for short. So basically, anytime there's an overload on the emotions, a trauma, something that stresses you out, just any stress, this nervous system is so wonderfully made that what it does is it can capture that stress, store it in the system as a scar, and keep it there until it can later digest and process that. Now what happens is, usually, hopefully, in your sleep, when you get rest, that will get rid of these stresses. But in today's society, there's so much stress coming in and very little being dissolved. So people are gradually getting more and more scarred inside. And when a scar is deeply traumatizing, it gets locked in the nervous system. And like what you said about energy, it locks up energy. It's a parasite, is what it is. It's a parasite. And let's say you had an emotional breakup in a relationship, and that has scarred the heart. You know it's in there. In your room, when you're quiet, it sometimes peeks out its head and makes you cry, right? Well, even when it's not peeking out its head, the nervous system is trying to work on that scar to relieve it, which means that that energy of that trauma is leaking out into your consciousness day after day, just a little bit. But that's not the only scar. There's thousands and thousands of scars. They're all leaking their energy out these sadnesses, this anxiety, this depression, just a little bit. And if you just stop and see your state of mind, that static in the mind is all these scars that are gradually leaking out. Your mood is the combination of all these scars, whatever is happening. See? So in meditation, what we do, we take the awareness so deep inside to a deep state of rest. Remember one thing, meditation, samadhi, is deep rest. It is not concentration. This is a misnomer. Many people think meditation is concentration. It's the opposite. Meditation is deep relaxation. It is deconcentration. So when we go deep into the awareness, we go very much deeper than sleep, many times deeper than sleep. And so when you get that very, very deep rest in samadhi, those stresses just untwist. And they get dissolved and they get washed away. Permanently, they get eradicated. And the longer you meditate, you'll notice that the static in your mind becomes less and less and less, until eventually, when you've meditated enough, your mind is blank, except for whatever you're doing. It's like a laser. That's all you're present with. Then your kid is over here and you just look at your kid, and because there's no static, you see? That's effortless mindfulness.
That's beautiful. As you describe it, I get the sense that idea, even within mindfulness, of being really present, it just becomes a natural state of being. Yes. After you've been in this deep meditation. You have the ability, so much of the stress and static has been cleared away, that you have the ability to really be present to what is, but without any sort of efforting to try to be present, to try to focus, but you're just sort of there. And that it's just filled with so much more ease, so much more grace to do that. I love that. I think that's wonderful. Yeah. So do you, having worked with so many people through OJAYA, can you share with us, do you have any stories of transformation or benefit that people have received where it's real, where it's something that, they're actually seeing changes happening in their lives?
Just a few weeks ago, we were doing a Zoom with the advanced course, and this surprised me, actually. There was an elderly gentleman on there. He was a quadriplegic. He had no use of his arms or legs. And when he was taking the course, his wife had to do the computer for him. When I was Zooming with him on the course, his wife had to do the computer for him. 4 months later, we're on this advanced Zoom, and he said, I've been doing OJAYA for 4 months now. Now I'm walking with a walker, and I'm starting to get the use of my right hand. So that was amazing to me. I said to him, we can't guarantee that people are going to have that kind of an experience because it depends on how much damage has been done in the system. But this armor mantra is also called a Vajra mantra. Vajra means lightning bolt. The reason it's called a lightning bolt mantra is because it affects and amps up the energy in the body, the prana, the chi. So if there are nerves in the system that are not totally gone, they could be repaired, then this will get in there and it will soothe them and smooth out the frays. It adds energy for healing. See? So we always say that if there's a chance for healing, this mantra will actually go for it. We have to keep this nervous system very healthy, which is why we need to eat well, get proper sleep, do good to people. All these things are part of the path. You have to lead a good life. Take care of this temple, So the Vajra mantra will definitely get in there and amp up that energy and clean out the chakras. And I was very thrilled that this guy is now getting his feeling back. That's just was amazing to me.
Yeah, that is amazing. I I'm actually really blown away by that, because that's something that I'm sure that he's tried to look at in many traditional medical Western, things like that, ways, and was told a certain message. But to have meditation bring in some of those changes, that's incredible, and it's so real. I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing. And that just makes me feel like this meditation that we're talking about, it's so much more more powerful, more real than we've ever thought of, that I've ever thought of before. It seemed to me be something that was more of a mental thing, like I'm going to sit, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to chant, things like that, but that it actually can bring real healing to the physical body.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
The key is the armor mantra and how to use that mantra. That's the key. It's like a mantra is a car, and you're going to drive it inwards. But how do you drive it? What are the rules of the road? What are the signs that you have to abide by? So this is a very rare, powerful technique.
It's able to do something like this and activate healing within us. It is a powerful technique, and being powerful, we have to be, I guess, responsible with that.
That's exactly why we have these foundation lessons. People say, I just want to learn right away. And we say, the requirement to begin to learn, you have to first take these foundation lessons. They're beautiful. There's these few videos, and it's because this mantra and technique is so powerful, we can't just have people coming in, and just learning it half-baked. If you're going to drive a car, you have to get your license, right?
Yeah, right. Wonderful. I love that. I think that's a perfect segue, actually, because we're coming up to the end of our time. It's a perfect segue into, I understand that you've brought with you a very generous gift. Can you please tell us more about that?
Yes, the foundation lessons. Exactly. And so we'd like to invite all of your subscribers, all of your viewers. They can just go to our site at OJAYA.com and learn more about the technique. We have a very vast site. Just read the site so you can understand what it's all about. And then you can go and enroll. You can sign up for the foundations. We're a not-for-profit school. We do this out of joy.
Beautiful. I love that. So thank you so much for that very generous gift. Having that foundation, learning what the rules of the road are, it's going to be so informative and really, like it says, build a solid foundation to this work of meditation, OJAYA meditation. So it's wonderful. And to all of our audience out there, I hope that you have also found this talk to be informational as well as inspirational, and have enjoyed the rainforest here with Sukaishi David. And Sukaishi David, I'm so grateful to have sat here with you in the rainforest and had this talk with you. It has been enlightening. It's really taught me some of the differences between some of the traditional thoughts I had about meditation in the past, and it's clarified things. I really appreciate this talk with you.
So nice to talk with you, Swara.
Thank you.